Greetings, weary traveler. It's me, I'm the Weary Traveler. I'm exhausted today, so I'm only going to be doing one song. So welcome to another Blue Archive reaction. This will be Polyphonic, theme 148. I really don't have the energy to go through 2 or 3 like I usually do for this, so I apologize in advance for only doing the one and this being a very short video, but I just rearranged my entire house, so sorry. Anyway, let's go. At the very least, this might give me some energy. Ooh, it's a little bit vibey. Kind of like that slightly lethargic beat. It's just a little bit lazy. I like that. It felt good. So that woke me up a little bit. What's up with all the ones recently from Blue Archive just having a bunch of sound design, like dancey trickery going on? Oof. I love that slowdown. It's like a little mini breakbeat. Not a halftime, not a breakdown. Just a little bit of a bridge. Some of these are really tripping me up. These fills are very interesting. Get a little bit, just a little, they're gonna fade out from here. That's what it sounds like. Nice hollow out. Good little scope to end on. I like that. So as I mentioned during the beginning of this song, that beat was kind of lazy, a little bit lethargic. It felt a little bit slower, and that's because they kind of gave it a small shuffle. This is also known as a lagging beat, or a myriad of other names that people call this. But that's kind of the core of what it's supposed to do. It's effectively playing the drum beat just slightly slower than the BPM of the song would be, and where the actual beat would land. And it's minute. It's not like a whole beat behind. It's not even like a quarter beat behind. It can be like an eighth, a 16th, even less. It really just depends on the player, how granular you want to get with that. But this had that in the beginning, and that was kind of cool. I usually don't hear that in electronic music, or at very least when they do it, it's usually a full beat or at least a full division, like a fourth behind the main beat, and that just kind of gives it that slow kind of like your brain is lagging a little bit. That's why it's called that. It makes you kind of lock into the beat in a vibe that otherwise wouldn't be accessible without the drummer or percussionist doing that on purpose. The YouTuber Zach Grooves loves to do that a lot on his beats. He loves that. It's constant with him, and that's exactly why it plays very well to jazz and this like off-centric funk that just it fits so well with that slight lag. You can also do it in the opposite, where you have just a little bit ahead of the rest of the song, albeit that's far less common, usually because the lag feels a bit better. It locks into the groove and the vibe a little bit better, whereas when you do it early, you just feel like you're rushing and it doesn't feel as locked in. Weirdly, I think that's just something that the human mind does, because theoretically it should work all the same, but we just process that speed as too much, rather than if we were to lag it back, it then sounds kind of cool. I'm not a psychologist, I don't understand why that is, but that just seems to be a general perception of that core change that people can make for a beat. is to cause that sort of chill out vibe, and it feels so good. And the other thing I mentioned on this song, all of these fills in here were really neat. They didn't do like full shifts in the rhythm either. They kept it just as like little breaks. They didn't feel like full breakdowns. They didn't feel like they were changing the entire song to halftime at all. They just had a measure or so where they just threw in a fill. Usually those are pretty common, and it probably sounds weird that I'm bringing it up, but I liked the way that all of these are structured. They had a lot of unique personality to each one. They weren't just the same copy-paste fill in each one. They played around with the sound design a little bit, some other percussive elements that didn't really fit the rest of what was happening with the beat, instead of just doing the same old, and I appreciate that. It's pretty common to hear a bunch of fills in a song, especially electronic ones like this, where there's a lot of room for those breaks to happen. It just felt really good compared to just having the same basic digga beats, you know, like whatever, cool, that's a fill. This had a little bit more thought and effort put into it, and played around with the room in that fill space a little bit more. And I always like it when they decide to throw in just a smidge of math, basically. They throw in some subdivisions and really press what can fit in that one measure of space. That's not a lot of time, so I like it when people break stuff down. And there were a few in there that had a couple of measures, so you allow that extra breathing room with going the half time and then coming back to the full speed. And I like that a lot because it allows for that extra inertia and velocity to find its way back into the song without slowing you down and then taking all of that momentum out of the way. I like that it kept that up while changing the beat just for a fill. And again, it probably sounds weird to some of you who may know drums that I'm bringing that up, but it's the way it ramps back in that feels so nice to me. It doesn't just slow down halftime and then immediately jolt back into its full speed. It allows for that extra build, just a slight one, but enough that you can feel the gradual gradient back into it. But I think that's about all I'll say for this one. So like I said earlier, I'm very tired. I'm going to end this video as soon as possible, get it up as soon as I can, and go to sleep. Thank you, Ryan Cito, for putting this into the comments. I'm sorry I didn't say anything about your name earlier. I was just wanting to get this video done. So thank you very much for requesting this one. And if anyone has any others to request, by all means, put them down in the comments below, and I will do my best to get to them, hopefully when I'm not as exhausted. And otherwise, if you like this video and you want to see more of me yapping about music, you know how to follow me and support me and all that, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!